Good evening wherever you are tuning in from tonight. Tonight I want to share a story that comes from a friend of mine. Let's call him Marco, who is originally from Indonesia, Jogja. This is actually an experience that happened to one of Marco's close friends, a guy named Aaron. This story revolves around a pelat, a traditional love spell that Aaron used on a woman. Before Marco sent this over, he and Aaron actually chatted about it. Aaron specifically told him, "Bud, since you listen to these scary stories all the time, why don't you send in my story?" So, this is being told at Aaron's request. There is absolutely no intention here to expose anyone's shame or RTD laundry. Marco wants to make that clear from the start. This is Aaron's wish, with the hope that anyone hearing this can learn from the mistakes he made in the past. So, the story goes back to around 2000. Marco was attending a university in Jogja. He wasn't originally from there, but he had some relatives and a grandmother living in the city. When he first started college, during the orientation week, he was staying at his grandmother's house. But the thing was, his grandmother's place was quite far from campus. It took him about an hour to commute. As time went on, he started getting to know other students, including Aaron and a few others. There were about 5 of them in this circle. Eventually, the 5 of them started talking. They decided they wanted to rent a house together. They figured if they pitched in, the cost would be much cheaper than everyone renting individual boarding rooms or co's. Plus, Marco was tired of that long commute, so they went hunting for a house and finally found one. It wasn't exactly right next to campus, but it was affordable. So, the 5 of them moved in, Aaron included. As they settled in, they got to know the neighbors. There was one neighbor in particular who became their go-to spot. It was a shop owned by a woman named Mrs. Miramar. Her shop was pretty big, a general store. For nearly a year they lived there and became regulars at Mrs. Miramar's place. She knew they were all students, the type who were always waiting for their monthly allowance. From to try tonight from the leading. The massives don't wingen, the hillsides the sons of the calm, but do. For I can be seen from the fox and the And she was very understanding, saying, "Oh, it's fine, just take what you need, pay me when the money comes." So, starting from then, they often bought things on credit, putting it on their tab until their allowance dropped. Now, Mrs. Miramar had a daughter named Irene. At that time, Irene was in her 3rd year of high school. And Irene, well, she was known as a beauty in that neighborhood. The guys loved to tease her, especially when they went to the shop. Eventually, all 5 of them, including Marco and Aaron, managed to get Irene's cell phone number. They used the excuse that they needed to ask if the shop had certain items in stock. But really, it was just a way to flirt with her. Over time, Marco and the other guys realized something. While they were all just joking around, Aaron was different. Aaron really, genuinely liked Irene. So Marco told the rest of the group, "Hey, I think Aaron is actually serious about Irene, so let's back off, don't tease her anymore." They all understood and agreed. For Marco and the others it was just fun, but for Aaron it was real. As time went on, Marco hit a rough patch financially. His parents weren't sending money as regularly, so he decided to take a break from his studies. He took a leave of absence to find a job. Initially, it was just for 1 semester, but it stretched into 2. Eventually, he was out of school for about 2 years, working to save up for tuition. Meanwhile, his friends, including Aaron, continued their studies on schedule. After about 4 years, Aaron graduated first. Even after graduating, Aaron was have that already on, deep in home's organ sizzle, has been computed. So Aaron started working in Jogja while the others were still finishing their degrees. or working on their thesis papers. Marco was still on leave at this point. When Aaron started earning a salary, he became very generous. Every payday, he would treat the guys. The issue of buying things on credit at Mrs. Miramar's store wasn't a problem anymore because Aaron would often cover their tabs. One day, Aaron asked Marco to hang out at their favorite Angringen. You know, one of those roadside food stalls. Marco didn't think much of it. He just thought they were grabbing food. But when they got there, Marco realized none of the other guys were around. He asked, "Yo, where are the others?" Aaron replied, "No, bud, I deliberately didn't invite them. I want to talk to you about something serious." "What's up?" That's when Aaron spilled everything. He told Marco that he had been in love with Irene for a long time and he didn't know what to do. Marco asked, "Well, have you ever asked her out?" By this time, Irene was already in college, maybe around her third semester. According to Aaron, he had asked her out directly, but she refused. And then Aaron showed Marco a chat history. Apparently at one point, Irene had sent a reply that really hurt Aaron's pride. Marco grabbed the chat, and yeah, the words were pretty stinging. Marco tried to cheer him up. "Come on, yo, keep your spirits up. Don't be discouraged by one text. You know how girls are, maybe she was just in a bad mood. Try again. At MB States meet, again ain't importance." One time, I went to the shop and Irene was minding the store. I asked her, "Ren, do you have plans tonight? I just got paid, not do you want to go get dinner?" And you know what she said? She told me she already has a boyfriend, and her boyfriend drives a car. That was the core of it. Aaron felt insulted because he only rode a motorbike. Aaron continued, "I really love her, bud. But I'm out of options. I don't know what else to do. Listen, when are you free? Can you accompany me somewhere? I have an acquaintance. He's still young, but I think he can help me." Marco started getting suspicious. "Help with what? Where are we going?" "To that area. You know, the North Coast." "The guy's name is Jose. He lives there. He can help." "Help with what?" "Come on, bud. You know, that kind of help." Marco genuinely didn't get it at first. "What do you mean?" Finally, Aaron spelled it out. "I want to try a palette. A love spell." Marco was shocked. Honestly, Marco was the type of guy who didn't believe in that stuff at all. Whenever the guys hung out and talked about horror, sorcery or spells, Marco was the one laughing at them or making jokes. He was a total skeptic. So when Aaron said that, Marco immediately pushed back. "Are you serious, yo? You know I don't believe in that nonsense. I'll just end up laughing at you. I don't believe in it." Aaron looked at him seriously. "That's exactly why I'm asking you. First, you're the only one with free time since the others are busy with their thesis or classes. Second, because you don't believe, because you question it. That's why I want you there." Marco thought about it. What kind of effect would this have on me if I go? "You just have to see for yourself, bud. I just want you to come with me." "All right, let me think about it first." After that night at the food stall, they went back home. Days passed and Aaron didn't bring it up. Marco didn't hear anything about the plan. Then, over a week later, Aaron spoke up again. "Bud, are you busy this Saturday? If not, come with me to Jose's house. I've made an appointment." Marco finally agreed. "Fine. How are we getting there?" "We'll take the bus." "Okay, deal." So that Saturday, they took a bus to the North Coast. We won't mention the specific district, even though Marco did, but let's just keep it anonymous. When they arrived, the area was bustling. It was a dense residential area. They found the house. It turned out this Jose guy was indeed young, maybe only around 27 years old. When they got there, Jose was just about to head out. He was carrying fishing gear. He saw Aaron and greeted him immediately. "Hey, yo. I thought you were coming tonight. Come on, join me fishing first." Aaron just said, "Oh, okay, Mas." So strangely enough, they went fishing. They went to these fish ponds in the area. The location was incredibly quiet and desolate. While they were fishing, Marco was introduced to Jose. Marco couldn't help but wonder. He had expected a paranormal expert, a shaman, to be some old man. But this guy looked like a regular youth, not much different from Marco's own older brother back in the village. Marco became even more skeptical. How can a guy like this handle love spells and supernatural stuff? He's so young. While they fished, Jose kept asking Aaron questions. "So, what's the name of the target, yo?" "Irene, Mas." "Did you bring the photo?" "Yes, Mas." "Do you know her birth date?" "Yes, Mas." Marco just sat there, listening to them chat while pretending to fish. He didn't even like fishing, so he just held the rod and eavesdropped. About 2 hours later, they had caught a few fish. Jose invited them back to his house. There, Jose introduced them to his wife and his 2 young children who were playing. But that same night, Jose had already prepared the equipment, the requirements for the ritual. At first, Marco just watched. He saw a chicken, a black one. At the time, Marco didn't know it was a chamani chicken, famous for rituals. He didn't know anything about that stuff. He also saw a coconut and several types of flowers. They gathered these things and then moved to a different location. This new place was remote. Jose's house was in a crowded neighborhood, but this place was isolated. There were only a few houses, and the building they went to wasn't a permanent structure. It was made of wood with a tile roof. They stopped there. Jose and Aaron unlocked the door and went inside. Jose said to Marco, "We need about half an hour. You can wait here for now. I'm going into the room first. I'll call you in a bit, yo. Just wait." Jose went into a room inside the wooden house. This was Marco's chance to ask Aaron again. "Yo, this Jose guy is so young. Is he really capable of handling this stuff?" Aaron explained, "Look, I know him from a friend of my older brother. They say he's legit, really powerful. He handles this kind of thing all the time. And chic. Unlike Taus, we go and free note you'll claim this beautiful thing. Now, you couldn't put I don't want any of this impacting me." Aaron smirked. "I thought you didn't believe in this stuff?" "I don't," Marco replied. "But looking at this place, it's creepy. It's desolate. You're going in there with Jose, and I'm going to be out here alone. But whatever, Jose is here." About half an hour later, Jose called out. Aaron entered the room, and the door closed. Now, Marco was truly alone. The location was dead silent and very isolated. It was late at night. Marco didn't even really know exactly where he was geographically. He couldn't hear a sound from Jose or Aaron inside the room. Outside, in the main area where Marco was sitting, there were several bird cages hanging up. There were turtle doves and some other birds, about 3 cages in total. There were also 2 chicken coops. Suddenly, Marco heard the birds going frantic. They were flapping wildly inside their cages. Flap, flap, flap. All of them. Even the chickens, which had been silent, started clucking and crowing. The atmosphere shifted instantly. It felt incredibly wrong to Marco. It was strange. When they first arrived, with all the noise of people talking, the birds hadn't moved a muscle. But now, Just minutes after Jose and Aaron started the ritual inside, the animals were panicking. They were acting like they were trying to escape their cages. Not long after, Marco heard the sound of a dog howling in the distance. A long, drawn-out howl. Marco, the skeptic, the guy who laughed at ghost stories, suddenly felt goosebumps covering his entire body. He stood up, confused. He wanted to run out, but he was hesitant because of the fear. He thought about knocking on the room door where Jose and Aaron were, but he hesitated there too. He was stuck. While the birds were still thrashing around, suddenly, knock, knock, knock. Someone was knocking on the front door of the wooden house. Marco jumped. He was shocked. He didn't dare open it at first, thinking Jose would come out, but Jose didn't emerge. The knocking continued, persistent. Knock, 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 knock. Marco had no choice. He went to the door and opened it. Standing there was a woman, maybe in her 50s, called Meat Craft, as much. She was wearing plain cloth pants. She was carrying a bundle of fabric, tied up. Marco couldn't see what was inside. Marco asked, "Who are you looking for, ma'am?" The woman didn't say a word. She just stared. Her eyes were wide, bulging, glaring intensely at Marco. Without speaking, she just barged in past him, walking straight toward the back of the house. Marco thought, oh, maybe it's Jose's relative. He closed the door again and sat back down. But the birds were still going crazy. The chickens were still restless. Marco didn't know what to do. He tried to creep closer to the ritual room to hear what they were doing, but he couldn't hear a thing. He went back to his seat. As he waited, things got weirder. After the birds, a wind picked up, a strong wind inside the house. It was so strong it felt like the zinc sheets on the roof were about to lift off. At the same time, a smell hit him. At first, it was fragrant, like jasmine flowers mixed with heavy perfume. It was overwhelming. But then, in a split second, the scent changed. It went from perfume to the smell of rotting meat, like dead, decaying fish. It was nauseating. Marco tried to think positively, telling himself, well, we are near the fish ponds. Maybe it's just the smell from outside. Then, Marco looked toward the back of the house. There was a room separated only by a fabric curtain. Through the gap in the curtain, he saw that woman, the one who had barged in. She was parting the curtain slightly, peeking out from the curtain, just glaring at him again. Wide, unblinking eyes. It felt like she hated Marco's presence there. Marco couldn't handle the stare. He looked down, feeling a mix of awkwardness and genuine fear. After a moment, he glanced up again. She was still there, still peeking, still glaring. Marco forced himself to look at the floor. He felt intensely uncomfortable, that prickling sensation on the back of his neck. He fought the fear, just waiting. Eventually, the feeling subsided. When he looked up, she was gone. The birds slowly calmed down. Silence returned. About 15 minutes after the animals went quiet, Aaron and Jose finally came out of the room. Jose acted normal, inviting them to sit outside on the terrace to have some coffee and snacks. They sat there, sipping coffee in the dead silence of the night. Marco finally spoke up. Maz, someone came in earlier. I opened the door because you didn't come out. Jose looked confused. Who came in? A woman. I opened the door for her. Jose frowned. This house is empty. Nobody lives here. I only use it for rituals. What did she look like? Marco explained. She was wearing normal clothes. I didn't see much detail. But she was carrying a fabric bundle. She walked right in, and went to the back. Jose immediately put out his cigarette. He stood up and walked quickly to the back, toward the kitchen area Marco pointed at. Jose opened the curtain and went in. Marco didn't know what he did back there. A moment later, Jose came back out, chuckling slightly. "Hey, what did she look like exactly? Her face? Just normal, Maz." "No, I mean, did she smile at you or was she angry?" "I think she was angry, Maz," Marco said. "Her eyes were bulging, staring right at me. And actually, while you guys were in the middle of the ritual, she was peeking out from the curtain, just glaring at me the whole time." Jose nodded. "All right then. Let's not stay here too long. Let's go back to my house." They went back to Jose's main house. That night, Marco and Oren couldn't sleep. Oren asked, "What did you see, bud?" Marco told him the story about the woman again. Then Oren whispered, "Bud, when I was inside the room during the ritual, suddenly there was a woman in front of me. I don't know how. I didn't hear the door open. Suddenly, there was just this older woman, but her face was blurry because it was only lit by candlelight." Aaron continued, "Did you see that woman actually enter the room I was in?" "No," Marco said. "She went to the back and never came out." Aaron looked terrified. "I'm so confused. When I went into the room, Jose locked the door, but in the middle of the ritual, she was just there." They talked until morning. Around 5:30 a.m., Jose let them leave. Before they left, Jose gave Aaron a final instruction. "Yo, don't forget what I told you." "Yes, Mas. And transfer the money for the chicken and the supplies to my wife's number." "Yes, Mas." On the bus ride home, Marco asked, "Yo, how much did that cost?" "It's a fair bit," Aaron said, "but I have the money. I've been saving up for this. I'm sure this is going to work. You think Irene will really fall for you?" "I'm sure. Jose is famous. He's well known in my brother's circle." Marco stayed silent for a while, then he asked, "What happens if it fails?" "The ritual isn't done yet," Aaron explained. "I have to fast for about 8 days. After the fast is over, I have to go back to Jose's house. Then the spell will be active." "All right," Marco said, "but when you go back there, I'm not coming." I was bored out of my mind, and weird stuff kept happening. Aaron started his fast, but Marco noticed it was strange. It wasn't a normal fast. Aaron would fast starting at sunset. When the sun came up, he could eat and drink like a normal person. But as soon as the sun went down, he had to stop eating. It was inverted. Marco thought it was bizarre, but it was Aaron's choice. After 8 days, Ron went back to Jose's house alone. When he returned, Marco noticed something off. Ron's aura had changed. His face looked dull, gloomy. It wasn't the usual Ron. Marco even asked the other housemates, "Hey, do you guys think Aaron looks weird? His face looks different." They agreed. "Yeah, he looks darker somehow. Not like himself." But Marco kept the secret. He didn't tell them about the pellet. Time passed, and nothing happened with Irene. She was still the same, indifferent to Aaron. Marco started teasing him again. "So, yo, did your spell work yet?" Aaron would look embarrassed because it had been over a month with no results. Then, one night, Irene suddenly showed up at their rental house. Aaron wasn't home yet. He was still at work. Marco opened the door. "Oh, Irene? What's up? Mas Marco, is Mas Aaron here?" "But Aaron isn't home yet." "Why?" "No, I'm working on my thesis," she said. "That's unusual," Marco said. "Why look for Aaron?" "Well, We're in the same major, and his thesis was similar to mine. I wanted to ask his opinion. Maybe he can help. Oh, okay. I'll tell him when he gets back. Irene left. Less than an hour later, Aaron came home. Yo, guess who came by? Who? Irene. She was looking for you. Aaron looked confused but blushed. Go to her house now, Marco urged. It's not too late. She wants to ask about her thesis seriously. It seems like she really needs help. Aaron didn't even change his clothes. He rushed over to Irene's house. He came back around 11 p.m. beaming. He told Marco that Irene had really opened up to him. It seemed natural. She needed help. He had the knowledge. Marco told him, "See? This isn't the spell. It's just coincidence. She needs you." Aaron didn't care about the reason. He was just happy. From then on, every 2 days, Aaron and Irene were going out. They'd go to internet cafes to work on her thesis, coming home late. Irene's parents approved because they knew Aaron and trusted him. Eventually, Irene graduated with good grades. Her parents were happy with Aaron's help. Their relationship became intense, but then Marco noticed Aaron changing. He became a completely different person. One day, Aaron came home from work and asked Marco to buy dinner. "Bud, buy some fried rice. Make mine not spicy, okay?" "Sure." Marco bought the food. He specifically told the seller, who knew them, make Aaron's mild, like usual. When he brought it back, Aaron took 1 spoonful and exploded. "Bud, you bastard, this is so spicy. You trying to prank me?" He was screaming, cursing at Marco. Since then, Evermoo agrees. Buck, a lighthouse keeper, in Surrey. At the final, the momentum reaching from the rump says man there were book you read about it. Then, a scandal hit the neighborhood. Irene was pregnant. Aaron was the father. Marco and the other housemates were stunned. Irene's parents were furious. They started looking at all the boys in the rental house with negativity. They had to get married. Neighbors said Irene's parents actually wanted her to get an abortion because they didn't approve of the marriage under these circumstances. But Irene refused, so the wedding happened. Aaron and Irene moved into a small rented house nearby. After that, Marco rarely saw Aaron. Aaron had become a stranger. Months later, when their baby was 3 months old, more trouble struck. Irene suspected Aaron was having an affair, and it was true. Aaron had a mistress, another woman he was actually renting a room with. Irene reported this to her parents. That was the final straw. Her parents demanded a divorce. Irene moved back home with her parents. Aaron lost everything. Word of the affair reached his office, and he was fired. He had no job. His reputation was destroyed, and he was spiraling mentally. He was also deep in debt. Debt collectors started showing up at Irene's parents' house because that was his listed address. It got so bad that Marco and the other friends had to pitch in to pay off some of Aaron's debts, just to stop the harassment. Then, the darkest moment came. Some friends found Aaron in an empty house. He was preparing a rope. He was about to hang himself. They managed to stop him just in time. After that, Marco and the friends tried to pull Aaron back from the brink. They sat him down. "What are you doing, yo? Why is it like this?" Aaron looked at Marco, exhausted. "Bud, I'm tired. I can't live like this. Do you remember, Bud? You're the one who took me there." "Took you where?" Aaron broke down. He explained that ever since he got married, he realized he couldn't control his anger, and worse, he was being haunted. A woman, a terrifying figure, kept appearing to him. She would threaten him. And recently, He had started hearing whispers. "You have to die. You should just die. Go on, do it." That was why he tried to hang himself. He was obeying the whispers. He told Marco, "Bud, I never told anyone this, but I had a deal. Jose told me I had to return every 8 months to renew the ritual, but I ran out of money. Every renewal cost about 6 million rupiah. I didn't have any savings left, so I stopped going. Since I stopped, that woman keeps coming. She tells me to kill myself." Marco finally understood. Aaron was being terrorized by the entity from the spell. "Okay," Marco said. "Let's end this. Can we stop the ritual?" "I don't know," Aaron cried. "Please, Bud, take me to Jose. But I need money." "I can't go there empty-handed." Marco didn't have 6 million. He was earning peanuts, but he contacted their circle of friends. Thankfully, their friends were good people. Marco told them Aaron needed medical treatment. They pitched in. Some gave 200,000, some gave 2 million. They raised the 6 million. Marco told Aaron, "Yo, we have the money. Let's go to Jose and finish this." They went back to the north coast. When they arrived, Jose refused to even look at them. He was furious. It had been over 3 years since Aaron last visited. Jose explained that because Aaron broke the cycle, the spirit had attacked him too. Jose had been terrorized by the same woman because his client stopped paying. Marco pleaded with him. "Mas, look at Aaron. He's in bad shape. Please help." Eventually, Jose agreed. They went back to that empty wooden house. Marco watched as Jose began the ritual to break the pact. As soon as the mantra started, Aaron's body began to convulse. He started screaming. Aaron later said he saw the woman coming to strangle him. Jose fought to protect Aaron. It was chaotic. Jose kept shouting orders at Marco. "Bud, get out, get that water, get the flowers." Marco was running back and forth. The ritual lasted 2 hours. They were exhausted. Finally, it was over. Jose slumped down. "It's done. But listen, you need to replace the costs for the offerings." "How much, Mas?" Marco asked. "About 8 million. Marco panicked. "Mas, Aaron said 6. "Yeah, but I needed special perfumes to fight this thing. Expensive ones. It cost more." "I only have 6,200,000 on me," Marco said. "I'll transfer the rest when we get home." "Fine," Jose said. "Just settle it. At least Aaron is clear." They took Aaron home. But he wasn't better immediately. For 4 days, Bayfurlong was like a zombie. He just slept. When he woke up, he would stare blankly. He wouldn't eat. He said he could still see the woman sometimes. Marco thought the ritual had failed. Then, on the 4th morning, the Adhan Subuh, the call to prayer, rang out from the nearby mosque. "Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar." It was loud. Aaron suddenly sat bolt upright. His eyes were wide. Marco jumped. "Yo, what's wrong?" Normally, none of them woke up for prayers. But Aaron sat there, silent for a few minutes. Then he looked at Marco and said, "Bud, I'm done. I learnt my lesson. I'm never doing anything like this again." He started crying. "Bud, I was married. I have a kid, Bud. What have I done?" He sobbed uncontrollably. He confessed everything. How he lied to his parents, hurt Irene, shamed her family, and burdened his friends. He cried from dawn until 7 a.m. Marco comforted him. "It's already happened, yo. The rice has become porridge. Just fix your life now. And hey, we still owe Jose money, and you owe the friends. I know, Bud. I'll pay it all back, I promise." A while later, Aaron decided to return to his hometown. At the submission place, Of this proof, some age at the French blank is concentrated. Could be Marco tried to give the money back to their friends, but they refused. They said, "No, keep it. We gave it sincerely to help Aaron." Marco told Aaron, "Yo, they don't want the money back." Aaron replied, "Okay then, please bud, take that money and donate it to an orphanage and a mosque. Do it on my behalf and pray for me that I stay away from this darkness and can live a normal life." Marco did exactly that. Sometime later, Aaron returned to Jogja. He told Marco that back home, he had washed his parents' feet and begged for forgiveness. His mother had given him simple advice: just live a safe life. If you can't do good, just sit still and don't do evil. Be useful. That blessing seemed to recharge him. Aaron found a new job, started a new life, and slowly rebuilt himself. Before he let Marco share this, he revealed the name of the spell he used. It was called Pellet Damar Kinesi, and that is why Marco sent this story to us. Aaron wanted his experience to be a lesson for everyone watching. Do not mess with things you don't understand. Hopefully we can all take wisdom from this. Thank you for your support. Stay safe out there.